Thank you, Castleigh. Take it.
Thank you very much. So first of all, I want to thank the deck for sponsoring this event. Thank 1 Million Cups for giving us the opportunity to present our company, Trifigo. Thank you guys for being here. We started this really quickly. How many of you guys here know what your credit scores are right now? Please raise your hand. Have you checked it today? Okay. You probably actually don't really know what it is because you actually just recalculated it today. How many of you guys know how your credit scores are calculated? One. Anybody else? Okay. All right, so this actually kind of outlines the problem and the gap that's currently out there. Most people do not know how credit scores are calculated and how significantly this affects their lives. So here's an opportunity that we saw in the market a couple of years ago. So what we are your credit report resume writers, and we are specifically looking to help the younger millennial crowd. So I'll jump into the second slide. So this is currently the problem that's out there. Now the problem is much larger than this, obviously, as you guys can kind of tell when I ask you how you calculate your credit scores. But what we're actually looking at is the problem with the younger millennial audience. So here, most of them are thin file or no credit files. Most of them will be thin file. Obviously, when you take a student loan, you have a credit file after that point. But most of them don't understand what it means to have a credit file and a credit score and how significantly that impacts them. And financial behaviors also impact your credit scores. So within all of that, you'll see that having a bad credit score or lack of understanding of your credit obviously leads to either access denied for access to capital or credit, or it just costs you a lot more, which then makes it harder to grow wealth. So what's the root cause of these problems? A lot of it is information, right? Transparency. Right now, there's a pretty significant information transparency gap between how the credit scoring, reporting bureaus and organizations are set up and the average U.S. consumer. So most people do not fully understand or pay attention to these items because it's intimidating, right? So how many, from your perspective, your payment history is 35% of your credit score, credit utilization is 30%. But within that, what are the scorecard breakdowns? Like, how do you get to an 850? A lot of people don't know, right? And it's intimidating when you don't know. So even if you're making $150,000 and you have a 650 credit score, there's almost some type of financial shame around that we want to get rid of. So here's right now kind of the root causes of the problem. Again, a lot of it's information and lack of knowledge. The current credit scoring system, the transparency isn't there for you as a consumer, but yet this impacts your lives. Another quick question I ask anybody here. When have you ever explicitly given permission for any of the bureaus to collect the file number? No one. But how have they been able to collect this information over the last 40 years and not necessarily provide the same service to you as they do to financial institutions? That's another interesting point to think about. But, so here are the limited platforms targeting the consumers that we're looking at. That college junior, college senior, looking to transition into professional working lives. Right now, the 800-pound gorillas in the room are Credit Karma and CreditWise, but they're not necessarily targeting the consumers that we're targeting in terms of helping them in terms of transitioning and gaining that knowledge and behavior to make them better understand their credit scores. So here is our product. We currently have our app in the app stores in the beta version, both iOS and Android. And at the end of the day, all of this is we're trying to just make you a better consumer, right? So with that, we'll provide you the education and tools, as well as run some assessments on your current credit score, your credit report, mostly on your report, because at the end of the day, all of that information kind of feeds into your score. Well, we'll take a snapshot of where you currently stand, then with some algorithms that we're creating, help you to provide a specific recommendation as to the next steps to help you build your credit score and your credit profile. So end of the day, if we reduce or improve your risk profile, as well as your behavior and understanding, that'll improve your score. So we want to make a lot of this information a lot less intimidating and easier for you to understand. At the end of the day, most people don't realize cash flow is king when it comes to your credit. And you don't necessarily think about it that way. Credit's one thing, your banking accounts and your checking account's something else, but not necessarily. The ability to create cash flow and have leverage, or create leverage for yourself is what's usually better. So here are a couple of screens that we have on our product. I only have a little bit of time, so I'll try to provide you with some more context. Well, personalized profile, so it's a mix between LinkedIn, Credit Karma, and Mint at the same time. We'll also have your banking profile, which is on this side, which again provides cash flow analysis, some additional credit analysis, depending on obviously your cash flow. And this is kind of how it works, right? So we're going to provide you with the tools, provide you with some recommendations based on our proprietary algorithm. Behavior optimization is, again, we want to give you those good behaviors that make you a better risk profile. And at the end of the day, provide some potential tailored products, working with some good financial partners out there, and that's to improve your credit scores. Business drivers are here, working with universities, in-app advertising.
All right, that's time. Awesome, great presentation. So I'm going to kick off Q&A, and we basically have about 15 minutes with each presenter. So as I ask the first question, I want you guys in the audience to be thinking of your own. And then as you raise your hands, I'll come around with the mic to take your questions. But our first question for all the presenters is always, what can the local community do for you? And yeah, feel free to take that however you'd like. And you've already got, oh, perfect. Go ahead.
I'm a mind reader, kind of, on the side. So here are the things that we're looking for to kind of help us. Again, we've built a pretty good MVP. It's in the app stores, but I'm not a marketing guru. I'm not a brand guru. So we're looking for anyone that kind of has that marketing brand feedback or expertise. Any suggestions on incubators, development resources. I have a CTO, but you can only do so much. So I need help on that. And then university and banking connections, because we definitely feel that the university space is where really kind of our differentiator is help those universities. There's a lot of benefits to universities. I didn't really get into that. But the universities can also track the financial health of their student body, and to a certain extent, eventually be able to model off about what type of donations and funding they can get from their alumni. Basically, they kind of understand what type of financial condition their student body and recent alumni are in.
Awesome. And yeah, definitely, take notes if that's you. Okay, got one question in the back. And if you are asking a question, if you don't mind, just state kind of your name and what you do.
Hi, my name is Spencer. I'm the owner of Brandwagon Digital. We do digital marketing and SEO and inbound marketing services. First off, I think it's a great product. I think that there's definitely a market gap there. Anyone who's seen the Credit Karma commercials can, attest to that. They're definitely targeting the audience that's a little older, not millennials. My question is, for a generation that grew up during the financial crisis, a lot of anecdotal evidence and a lot of market research shows that there's resistance from millennials to really engage in the credit process, not only from a company basis, but also as an institution. Have you found any challenges with reaching that audience because of that skepticism of engaging with that whole system?
So here's the ironic part. Again, going to college, you get a credit file by taking out a student loan. So whether you want to or not, you're participating in that game. Now, the other part of that is that we're focused on your behavior and to help you, and a lot of that is literally based on your shopping and your spending behaviors. Because we want to help you become a better consumer on the end of it. Like, your credit is just a portion of it, right? So we want to make you overall better financial consumer, because at the end of the day, if you understand credit, you can understand investing. Because credit is the basis of the U.S. financial right? There's a 9-to-1 credit to equity in the market. Most people don't even think through that, right? So debt is the way that the U.S. economy is run, and whether you want to participate in, eventually millennials will kind of change their tone. A lot of generations do that. Like they want to be rebellious, but at some point we kind of fall in line to the rest of the world because of the way the system is set up. You can't necessarily, 90% of millennials can say, all right, I don't want to use a credit card, I'm not going to do it. You already have a credit file, right? You take out a student loan, you have to pay that back. You take out a car loan, you have to pay that back. So those are credit products that they're using anyway. The credit card portion is definitely, and again, that's why we're not necessarily thinking of like just promoting credit cards. We just want to make you a better overall consumer. And if credit cards fit as a part of that profile, we can help you to kind of help to pick out some better credit cards by understanding some of the nuances of how credit cards work. But yes.
Hey, it's Tanner Hawkins. I work in personal finance, so I love the idea. You said it's kind of, your app is kind of a combination of LinkedIn, Mint, and Credit Karma. I've looked at the Mint app before. I kind of like the way it's set up. So you guys, obviously you have a lot that's focused on the credit. I'm guessing you have ways to kind of, hey, here's some tips of improving your credit, making some adjustments. Do you also go into, I'm guessing it's probably linked to banking information as well, so could it track purchase history and even say, hey, you may be able to monitor even your budget or your spending habits and find some ways you can help yourself out there as well?
Yes. Simple answer to your question.
Okay.
So the aggregator behind, it used to be behind Mint was Yodlee. So I don't know how familiar you are with Yodlee. It took me a while to figure them out too. But Mint is now owned by Intuit. So Intuit is providing that service for me. So what Yodlee does is a financial aggregator that goes out and plugs into JP Morgan, Chase, all your accounts, 401k, all of that, right? And it pulls that data for you. And we've actually been working with Mint for a while, so we have access into their development portal. And right now on our app, you can link your banking account, 401k, checking account into it. And part of the thing that, again, people don't realize is how do you assess fixed expenses versus variable expenses? We're getting down to that level, right? And it's harder to adjust your fixed expenses because of rent, car notes, but your variable expenses is where you can do a lot of work on, right? So if you have, say, 50-50 variable to fixed, we're probably gonna figure out how to kind of bring that expense down on the variable side to get cash flow. That's what we're focused on. How to help you understand and improve your cash flow, because that's pretty significant in terms of giving you choices. So yes, that's a different part of it. That becomes a part of the banking profile that I couldn't really show you in depth, but it's on our app. We'll be providing a 3-month cash flow analysis. So you want to be able to even smooth out the seasonality. So if you look at stuff in December and November, a lot of people are buying Christmas cards, Christmas gifts in those months. So if you see a negative $800 cash flow, sometimes a lot of people are spending more than they usually would. But if you smooth that out over 4 months or so, you see that on average, this person has about $250 or $300 in average cash flow. Right, so cash flow is where we're trying to do that analysis there and give you suggestions. And we also have another page where we'll be looking at offers in terms of tips, right? Showing them where to go get things that they normally buy at 30-40% off, like Deal News, Car Gurus in terms of shopping. So again, we want to make you a smarter overall consumer. So if you're going to go shopping, we'll walk you through that shopping process. Understand what you can afford, pre-qualify, use Car Gurus, get co-signed by the car dealership before you go there, so there's no negotiation. They can't even tell you it's another $50 off, I mean $50 more. It's what's on that actual stamp from Car Gurus, right? So all of those things help you in the long term become a much smarter consumer.
Thank you, Castleigh. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to this solution or this business, the problem and then finding the solution? What is your background?
I have about 15 years in financial services across the spectrum of finance. So I've been a bank examiner during the financial crisis. I was at the New York Fed. I worked on a lot of interesting projects there that some of them made the papers, a lot of them didn't. Government repo settlement, only 2 institutions in the country that actually do that. Imagine failing $1 trillion of government repos on any given day during the crisis. I had to report on that to the Board of Governors. Worked at Goldman, AIG, BMO, model governance, risk, operations. So I've seen the spectrum of financial services, and especially on the retail consumer side, the information asymmetry is terrible. And most people don't realize you go up against an institution like a bank, the least information you have, the more of a win it is for a bank. No matter how smart you think you are, a bank will always beat you. Like within the tricks of contracts, I've seen contracts that people have no idea what they sign. They think it's plain English, but read page 34 of that contract. It's not what you think it is, right? So I think a lot of that is we want to kind of level the playing field, right? There's that information asymmetry. What you don't understand affects you in multiple ways. So if you're smarter and you at least have enough to have a decent conversation, and what actually improving your credit score does for you is give you choices. That's really all it does, right? So when you have a 600 credit score, you have 5 or 6 choices. When you have a 750 credit score, you have 80 to 85 choices. And you can pick and choose. I want this, I don't want this. So those are the types of things that we want to kind of make it more apparent to folks that those are the things that to focus on, not the actual score itself. Score is arbitrary. 300 to 850, who even came up, right? But that doesn't matter. It's where does it matter to you in terms of your financial goals, the choices I want in my life, and the type of lifestyle that I want to lead, and what do I need to do to make that happen?
Good morning. My name is Jason Johnson. I'm a CEO for the newly launched Fubu Mobile. I wanted to ask a question as far as I see that you're doing it on the personal side, but are you going to be doing this or launching some type of platform on the business side?
Eventually. So that question has been posed to me quite a few times. I want to transition over to the business side because a lot of times from a startup, small business, they ask for personal guarantees, right? And they also look at your credit score when they're looking at those personal guarantees. So teaching small business individuals how to kind of get better at understanding the financial part of it is one of our probably version 2.5 in terms of rollouts in the future. But for right now, initial launch, we won't be actually focusing on the business side. But again, for like someone younger in that kind of our target age range is usually between college, juniors and seniors, and say 26, 27-year-olds. If you're in that space, definitely help you individually, personally, and then help you to transition to understanding what does that mean on the business side for you.
Nice. I was going to say, yeah, we have time for about one more question. And then if you did have something you didn't get to ask, please feel free to stick around after, connect with Trifigo on Twitter. Yeah, hope you get those questions answered. And here we'll take one more from Roberto.
Hi, my question is, you kind of mentioned that the app is a mashup between LinkedIn, Mint, and Credit Karma. Now, the thing is, we know all these apps because they are really good at what they're doing, right? So my question is, are you afraid that maybe you guys are trying to overreach and trying to solve way too many problems, trying to mix a lot of stuff instead of focusing on only one? Because we know all those companies because they are really good at what they're doing. Now you're trying to mesh up all that, and you even mentioned kind of giving suggestions kind of to save money. So it's even more on top of everything. So that's my question. If you don't think that you're kind of overreaching and trying to get the best of everything instead of focusing on only one thing.
Great question. No. Because at the end of the day, what you are as a consumer is your transaction information and your credit report, right? You're not separated out. You're not, let me fix my credit report, then let me figure out fix my spending. Like those things intertwine. Actually, I don't know why the US consumers have actually gotten so used to thinking of themselves in these two buckets, but it's really not. It's one bucket. How you spend a lot of times is gonna affect your credit report. If you're a saver, if you're an overspender, you leverage that through credit a lot of times. So yes, I fully understand your concern, but we've done a lot of anecdotal research, and saying it's a combination of LinkedIn, Mint, and Credit Karma, the LinkedIn part is just for creating the personal profile, which is easier for you to see and feel and personalize. And then the kind of big soup to nuts is a combination of Credit Karma and Mint. But if you actually use Credit Karma and realize Credit Karma is nothing but a lead generation engine for credit cards. That's all they are. So they're not really solving the problem. They're just getting to figure out what kind of credit card you can afford. Right? So we're in a different ball space than Credit Karma.
All right, thank you guys so much for your questions, and let's give another round of applause for Trifigo. Great job.